Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first GameFAQs Podcast episode. My name is Brian, a.k.a. Superman Seat Grab, and I'm here with Mike, a.k.a. Shadow KH Ninja, and Andrew, TV Mania 619 on the GameFAQs message board. Say hello, guys.
Hey.
And our outro and intro song was created by Hascam88 from the electronic dance music board on GameFAQs. If you've never visited that board, you should definitely check it out sometime because, in my opinion, they have some of the best music taste on there. All right, and so, guys, let's go ahead and start this off today. How did you guys discover GameFAQs.com? Let's go around the table here and let's talk about how we discovered GameFAQs. Let's go ahead and start with Mike. Mike, how did you discover GameFAQs.com?
Okay, back in 1999, I went to GameStop and I was going to buy The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And no, wait. It was Ocarina of Time. And I asked the guy if he had any walkthroughs or, facts and stuff. And he was like, hey, you should check out this website. So he gave me the link. I went home. I logged on. I was like, hey, this site's really cool. So I created an account. I've been addicted to it ever since.
Great. That's awesome. And let's go ahead and have Andrew give his opinion on that. Let's see how, Andrew, how did you discover GameFAQs.com?
I think it was just random internet browsing. I think I was probably stuck on a game at some time and, I was stupid and I cheated probably by using a walkthrough. But I remember the first board I used to post on here was, in fact, the Call of Duty 4 boards. And that was a pretty fun board while it was, quite busy. And then, over time I moved on to, the Modern Warfare 2 board, Black Ops and so on. And then I think I found CE by complete accident about last August or something. And, it's been a pretty fun journey since.
Awesome. And as for me, man, it's been so long ago. I've been on GameFAQs for quite a while. I think it was back in 2000 was when I first discovered GameFAQs.com.
Oh, wow.
I don't quite remember what game I was needing something for, but I remember logging on, getting on Yahoo search because Google wasn't very popular back then in 2000. And I just remember typing in, I forget what game it was, but GameFAQs came up and I was like, oh, this is a pretty neat site. Got on there and discovered that they had a full fact for the game I needed help with, and then discovered the message boards, and then it just took off from there. Just been browsing the site ever since on current events, and back in the day when Lou was popular, you guys remember that whole episode back in the day?
I've heard about it.
And but it is kind of like what Andrew said. It took off from there for me. I just loved it ever since, and I've definitely enjoyed the community there. So
sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious what you guys are currently playing right now. What games are you guys playing? Someone want to go ahead and start off, and let's see what everybody's playing right now.
You gonna go first, Mike?
Okay. Let's see. I just finished playing Uncharted for PlayStation Vita.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was a good game. I'm finishing Mass Effect 2. I decided to try to finish it again before I start playing number 3.
Okay.
And let's see. And Mario Kart 7, basically.
Oh, awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
As for me, I've pretty much been rocking, the Team Meat indie games, so stuff like Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac, those sort of games. But, also some, Call of Duty, Battlefield 3, that sort of stuff.
That's awesome. I'm actually in the middle of playing Mass Effect 3 right now.
Awesome.
And it's a great game. I really cannot say anything bad about this game. I went and picked it up Monday night, midnight launch at GameStop, and I can't complain about the game. It's been really fun. It's got a lot of content on it. It's really impressive.
Oh, that sounds good.
The graphics are amazing. I really can't say anything bad about it. I would imagine it's an early game of the year choice for me right now. That's for sure. That's for sure. And let's talk about what.
How many people were in line at GameStop?
Oh man, it was ridiculous. There was a lot of people there to pick the game up. They were giving out T-shirts, which I actually managed to grab a T-shirt.
Awesome.
They were giving out the standees for. They had a big, huge Commander Shepard standee they were giving out, and somebody won that.
That.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really awesome. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember back when Halo launched, Halo 3 at GameStop and stuff, they were giving like free candy that was like shaped like Halo symbols or something. I don't know. It was like the weirdest thing ever.
That's awesome.
I'd be a bit worried
Oh,
if I was being. Oh, sorry.
They actually had this cake with like Halo 3 written on it. I don't know. It was kind of bizarre, but at the same time was really cool.
I think I'd be a bit worried if strangers were giving me candy for no reason.
No, but it was inside the store. Like it was for free. I don't
Okay,
know.
then. Slightly safer then.
It was like parties, so they were giving free candy and cake away.
Nice. So what's the last game you guys finished?
I guess for me, I guess the last game I finished, I say in air quotes, is probably The Binding of Isaac, because it's one of those games that, you know, is quite short, but it has a lot of replayability because the floors and the dungeons are randomly generated. So as far as beating, in that case, it's Binding of Isaac. But for campaign, I think it was probably Modern Warfare 3. So that's probably dated me a bit there.
Oh. Well, actually, the last game I finished was like 5 hours ago. I went back, pulled out my Super Nintendo. I just finished playing Mega Man X. You know, the first game.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I just finished beating that for like the 50th time.
So you went kind of back in time and pulled out the old Super Nintendo and played a game, huh?
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm a big fan of old school games. So
what about you?
Last game I finished. This is actually kind of funny. This actually relates to Mass Effect 3.
Okay.
I went and purchased Mass Effect 2 because I had an Xbox and it actually died on me a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
And I have a PS3 though. So I went and I was like, you know what? Mass Effect 3 is coming out in like 2 weeks. I have to play Mass Effect 2 because you know how your saves carry over from game to game. And I was like, well, I don't have a save on, Mass Effect 2 on my PS3. So I rushed out, went and got a copy of Mass Effect 2, and I've been playing all week. And so Monday night, I was right at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
I was on the suicide mission, and I was like, I got to beat this game. So I came home and got my game at like 12:15, rushed back here. And unlike everybody else who had the game, I'm sure they went right home and played it, I had to beat the end of Mass Effect 2, and then I went right into Mass Effect 3. So it kind of worked out that way. It's kind of nice to kind of transition right from one end game to another.
Without having that massive wait between.
Right.
Awesome. Okay.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm still playing through Mass Effect 2 before I start number 3. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely worth it.
I remember playing through Mass Effect 1 a while ago, and it was pretty fun for what it was, but overall the game was really short, I found. I'm not sure if, they improved on that in the second and third ones, but...
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, the second game blows the first one out of the water.
Yeah. Well, now that we're on the subject of Mass Effect 3, we're going to go ahead and get into our gaming news of the show here, and might as well talk about Mass Effect 3, because the very first piece of information we got here is the download, or the DLC. And apparently on Mass Effect 3, it had Day 1 DLC, and what I found out this week is that those DLC files were actually on the disc. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a really big fan of DLC. I'm not really too fond of it. If it's on the disc, it should be included with the game. Yeah. And games nowadays, they're $60, over here in the U.S. and
about £40 here.
Right, and if you pay $60 for a game, you expect to get everything that's on the game. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the thing that upsets me and that kind of takes me off is that if I'm paying $60 for a game, I should get everything. Now, the Mass Effect 3 did have a N7 Collector's Edition, which was $79.99 over here. Yeah. And it did come with the DLC. Now, mind you, I don't mind paying, the extra $20 for a Collector's Edition unless it comes with a lot of cool stuff, right? Yeah. Like Halo always came with, Legendary Edition. They had the Halo helmet. And then I remember with Halo Reach, it actually had the little figures you got with the big, huge box. Now, they always say you pay for, you get what you pay for. Yeah. I don't think that the $80 collector's edition was really worth it. You got an art book and you got the DLC. I mean, come on. So yes, I went ahead and bought the DLC because I don't want to miss out on key parts of the story. Which actually, this $10 From Ashes DLC for Mass Effect 3 was actually really key part of the story.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give it away on here, but it's a very crucial part of the story that is important. And you actually get an extra squad mate with that too.
Yeah.
Now, my thing about it is, guys, is I play Call of Duty, I play Battlefield.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting the map packs, but the prices for the DLC, that's what really ticks me off, is that you're paying $15 for only like 3 maps.
Yeah.
That's not a very fair price.
No.
And I understand that, these gaming companies, they have to make money, but do they really have to charge us so much money for DLC? Let alone, can't they just include it with the $60 that we already pay? And I want to hear you guys' opinion about DLC. So go right ahead.
Okay then. Well, actually, relating to DLC, and you were mentioning, I know it's going off on a tangent slightly, but you mentioned Battlefield 3, the DLC there. And I remember I pre-ordered the special edition, which, came with, the base game plus also, access to like the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer beta and also the DLC for free when it released in December. And I'm pretty sure that the special edition of the game was actually cheaper than just the normal edition of the game.
Uh-huh.
And I've got to say that the maps themselves, like playing on them, for the most part, a lot of them are quite fun. So I think it was well worth the money. But with Mass Effect 3, the main thing is that people are annoyed that BioWare deliberately kept some of the game off the disc, even though it was created before it was released.
Exactly.
So
yeah, in my opinion, like buying a game and just having the feeling that you don't have the complete full game, I don't know. It feels strange. You feel like you only have 95% of the game, and you have to pay $15 just to get the remaining 5%.
Yeah.
Like when I buy a game, I want it to be the complete thing, not just not just a part of it.
There's also the value for money coming in there because, for instance, if you think about it, you said that the DLC for this was it $10 or something?
Yeah,
right?
15, I think.
$15. Okay then. But considering if the full game's, $60 or whatever, then you'd expect that the $15 would make up, around add a quarter of the game's length. But in most cases, it doesn't really do that, does it?
Yeah, it's usually like extra levels, extra character, or something,
Yeah, but
not
normally,
exactly necessary.
but the value for money itself isn't normally that good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And not to mention that, it's already on the disc.
Yeah.
All you're paying for nowadays is like a, on computer games you have an unlock key for the disc.
Yeah.
That's basically all you're paying for is when you spend the extra $10 to $15 on DLC. You're paying for a unlock key that opens up these locked files on your disc.
Yeah.
And it's a very I think it's a very a very interesting way for these developers to make an extra buck off of the gamers.
Yeah.
And they gotta understand that people are gonna be loyal and they're gonna buy the DLC. I know for Mass Effect games, I don't have a problem with it, not at all. I was really shocked that when they brought it out on PS2, when they brought Mass Effect 2 on PS3, that they actually included, 3 extra, DLC content on there. So the only one that I actually had to purchase was the Arrival, which was another $10. So, and Mass Effect 3 brand new for PS3 is $20 over here. Okay. And I was actually shocked that for $20 I got the game and I got 3 of the DLCs that on Xbox alone are $10 a piece.
Yeah.
So I was actually able to get a really sweet deal, which I don't understand why they wouldn't have done the same thing on the Xbox 360 and save some gamers some money, but I don't make the decisions in the price of video games, so that's not up to me.
I'm actually kind of surprised that if they know that the content's on the disc, I'm surprised that nobody's, figured out a way how to, bypass having to pay for the DLC if it's already on the disc.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a key. You actually have to purchase it with your account for it to be unlocked, and it's kind of complicated.
But we're living in an age where a group of, people like Anonymous can take down the PSN, and it's just like a group of teenagers or young adults that can do that. So they can take down, massive networks. So I'm surprised that nobody's managed to find a way to access the DLC files without having to pay the money.
And actually,
That's it.
speaking of BioWare, one of you guys told me earlier today that something's going on against BioWare. What was that about?
Oh yes. Story is that you know those family values groups in America or whatever, who
Yeah.
if there's like the tiniest bit of some like content in a video game or a TV show or a movie that's rude, and then they want to ban the entire thing. Well, they've launched apparently they've launched an email campaign against BioWare, who also created Mass Effect 3, because in the game Star Wars: The Old Republic, they want to get rid of the same-sex relationships because they don't want their children to be exposed to these kind of relationships. So, what do you think about this then?
Well, I think that this is ridiculous. Okay, I'm just going to give an honest opinion. It's ridiculous. Over the years, many people have tried to take the blame away from parents as far as video games go.
Yeah.
We've had, over here in our government, we've had senators, like with Grand Theft Auto, when Grand Theft Auto 3 first came out, everybody was, they were wanting to jump everybody's ass about that. And the parents were not wanting to blame themselves. They don't want to be the ones responsible for the selection of the video games their children are playing. I mean, no one wants to be responsible anymore for anything. It just kind of seems like to me. And now they're wanting to hold up, they're wanting to hold the all these things against the developers of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the developers, they're just trying to make a good game.
Yeah, and also,
it's just like movies. You don't see anybody, trying to go against Universal Studios or MGM or anything like that for making violent movies. And most of the time, these violent movies parents are taking their kids to see. So what's the difference? I mean, what's the difference really? That's what gets me about it.
The thing is that, video games and movies and that sort of stuff, they have ratings, and they make their games suitable for those ratings. So for instance, a game like Grand Theft Auto, it's being given an 18 for a reason. So if there's anything bad in it, like running over pedestrians or whatever, the adults can't get annoyed because it's an 18. And if their kids play it, it's the parents' fault, not the developer's fault. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, what's also strange is the game is obviously rated teen.
Exactly.
Yet, they say like I don't want my 8-year-old kid playing this game.
Yeah.
Just because of the same-sex marriage part.
They're not supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah. And the game's actually violent too. I mean, Star Wars, you have decapitations, stuff with lightsabers. I mean, it's not like the game meant for little children. So.
Yeah.
The ratings are on there for a reason. I mean, that's what gets me is that the parents just send their kids in and they let them buy whatever they want. I mean, if you really care about your children and what they want to watch or play or whatever it is, then tell your kid no. I mean, that's I don't understand how that's so hard to do.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of the younger generation. Considering even though I'm part of the younger generation, is that their parents don't know how to say no, and then if they don't say no, then things like this come up where they complain to the developer about. To be fair, if it's a teen game and you haven't, unless you've lived a pretty sheltered life, then you would know about same-sex relationships,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's funny that they're targeting that too in particular. I mean, it's always something. It's like they have to, these groups out there, and I'm not saying that I'm not bashing them. I'm not at all. There's a right way and a wrong way, and for a family association, you would think they would be like, hey, let's talk to these kids' parents, and let's get the parents involved. But no, instead of doing that, they directly go to the developer or whoever it may be, and say, oh, your game sucks or it's terrible because there's decapitations and and stuff like that, and and it's why do you make these games and you target them to children? I don't think they're targeted for children. Obviously, some of them are rated M for mature, and there's a reason why.
Yeah.
It's just people don't want to take the time. Parents don't want to take the time to go with their children and buy these games and read the back of the box.
Yeah, and also.
Say, oh, well,
And also, quite a lot of parents, I guess, are in a way, out of they're not exactly sure how video games work or whatever. So, I think their child can easily, say, oh yeah, it'll be fine for me to play when they know it wouldn't be, and then their parents go along with it. Like an example would be, kids on Call of Duty or whatever. It's an 18, for instance, but their parents.
You find 12-year-olds online,
yeah,
yelling into the microphone.
Exactly. But that's sort of this stuff, and apparently the game in question. The game in question hasn't actually got the support for it yet. For the actual, it's going to be released after it's actually launched.
Yeah.
So Mike, did you have any gaming news for us today? Anything that you saw this week?
Yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD is going to be coming out later this year. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the Tony Hawk series. The first game came out in 1999.
Oh, wow.
I remember playing that game for hours on end on my PlayStation 1.
Awesome.
Are you guys familiar with that game?
As far as I know about Tony Hawk is I know they're skateboarding games, but as for actually playing them, I haven't really played any of them.
You should really take some time to play the first one.
Yeah, play the older games. Yeah, and I'm actually a big fan of the Tony Hawk games. I remember playing them back in '99 too, and I thought they were phenomenal games. The first 3 games were actually really good, but they actually started going downhill after American Wasteland came out, and then they came out with the Tony Hawk Ride, which I actually own that game. It was $5. It was $5 at GameStop during Christmas, so I couldn't help myself but get it.
Is that the one with the? Oh, sorry, you go first.
Yeah, did it come with a skateboard peripheral? Or?
Yeah, it came with the skateboard, and it came with the game too. And I tell you what, that was a terrible game. It was a horrible game.
Yeah. Actually, I think I seen the actual board itself is pretty durable actually. Mm-hmm. So there's that going for it. But
hopefully with this HD remake, it'll actually be really, really good.
Yeah,
to play it with the updated graphics and everything. That'd be great.
I do. Yeah,
they're actually remaking the first 2 games. It's going to be Tony Hawk 1, Tony Hawk 2, levels from those 2 games. So.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Hopefully that's good. I mean, that'd be a great way to bring people back to the franchise and to get the younger gamers involved in that stuff too, because those games were great back then.
I remember.
Especially multiplayer, playing with your friends, trying to get high scores.
Yeah, absolutely.
Music was great too.
Yeah. I remember way back. I think the last time I actually remembered the Tony Hawk games is when I think it was it Underground 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's when they started doing free roam type of game. There wasn't a countdown timer anymore. You actually had as much time as you wanted to explore the level and stuff. You could even walk, if I remember.
Oh yeah. Just see. Apparently, there hasn't actually been a release date yet. It seems. So there's.
Yeah, it's due this summer. I think I've read somewhere second quarter of this year. So yeah.
What are your opinions on HD remakes or collection packs or whatever of games?
I actually like HD remakes. I just don't like it when we don't hear anything new from any developers except for an HD remake of one of their older titles.
I see. Would you want to pay the same amount of money for a remake as you would the original?
No. If it's going to be a remake, HD of an old game, I think max be around $20-$30.
Okay.
Anything more than just asking too much.
Okay.
Right.
What about you, bro?
So as far as HD remakes go, I'm actually a big fan of them. I actually own the God of War 1 and 2 collection.
Oh, okay.
And those are actually really good games. I'm a big fan of God of War series anyway. I love those games. I actually own the Prince of Persia HD remakes as well, the Sands of Time.
Oh, Sands of Time.
The other 2 as well. And those are actually really fun. I'm a big fan of HD remakes. I think they're a really, really good way for, like I was saying earlier, for the younger generation that didn't get the chance to play them on the older consoles, to be able to pick these games up and play them with the newer updated graphics on the game.
Okay then.
So let's go ahead and get into what was released last week. Looking here, and looks like we had, obviously, Mass Effect 3 came out last week.
Yep.
And we also had the new MLB 12, The Show, came out last week as well. And for those of you out there who are baseball fans and like that sort of thing, and so did Major League Baseball 2K12 came out. And it looks like the other major release was Street Fighter X Tekken. Is any of you guys a big fan of fighting games?
Oh yeah.
When it comes to fighting games, for me, it's pretty much just spam the most overpowered attack and just hope I win. For me,
No.
I have no skill in fighting games at all, really.
Now, Mike said, "Oh yeah," on that one. So you're a big fighting game fan, huh?
Yeah, I grew up playing Street Fighter 2, so I have that whole fighting game gene inside me.
Did you pick up this game?
Yeah, I did for PlayStation.
Oh, awesome.
And how is it? Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. And let's see what we got coming out next week. We got FIFA Street, if you like soccer, if you're soccer fans. We got the new Silent Hill game coming out too as well. That's kind of a big thing. Haven't played a Silent Hill game in a long time. I don't think I've played a Silent Hill game since Silent Hill 4, I do believe, or Silent Hill 3.
Yeah, last game that I played Silent Hill was the third game, which I think was really good.
Great.
I don't think I've played any Silent Hill games.
Wow, you need to play some Silent Hill. Those are actually really good.
I'm such a down. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You need to download those games right now, like on your PlayStation 3. I think they're available on the store.
Awesome. My first console I actually got was the Xbox, and that was when I was about 10. So I remember I probably clocked in more hours on stuff like Burnout 3 and Revenge and that sort of stuff than on games like Silent Hill or whatever.
My first system was a NES.
Okay then.
Well, let's talk about that while we're on that subject. What was your first console?
Xbox Crystal for me. And I remember I got it was on Christmas Day, and we got 3 games, and they were Outrun 2, Burnout 3, and Sonic Heroes. And I remember playing like pretty much on the Xbox all day, and that was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
What about you, Mike? Yeah. What was your first console you ever got?
Yeah, the first console I got was an NES, Nintendo Entertainment System.
That's awesome.
I got it for Christmas, and the first game that I got was Super Mario Bros., but it was the one that had Duck Hunt.
Oh, yes.
On the same cartridge.
There you go. I actually, the very first console I got was for Christmas as well. I got the NES. Awesome. And I loved it. I used to play the heck out of that game all the time. I had the Super Mario Brothers and the Duck Hunt combination cartridge. And I used to play the hell out of that all the time. I loved it. It was so much fun playing a game like that, So it's a simple game to play too.
Yeah. And
it just amazes me over the years how much games have evolved from the 80s on up to now. So
actually, while we're still on the topic of Super Mario Brothers, a game that was released this week that might have passed under the radar of a few people was Mario. But what it is, it's basically Super Mario Brothers, the original one, remade, but you're also given a portal gun. So what do you think of a mashup like?
Wow.
Is it an indie game or like a
mod? It's a free download.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like the complete Super Mario Brothers game, but you get given a portal gun, and it actually works properly and everything.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
That actually sounds awesome. You'll have to send me a link or something and let me know where that's at, because that sounds like a really fun game to play.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and move on. And any news on updates on GameFAQs, the actual site? We are a GameFAQs podcast after all,
yes,
so let's see what's going on here. I'm on GameFAQs right now, and
don't visit the Pokemon Black and White 2 boards. Apparently, there's a whole flame war going on between the 3DS board and the DS board. Everyone on the DS board's like, "Hey, we want this game to be on the DS, not the 3DS." Have like 3DS fanboys saying the new Pokemon game deserves to be on the 3DS. So, just creating a topic with the 3DS in the title on the Pokemon Black and 2 boards, you'll
Yeah.
you'll regret ever doing that.
Yeah, you gotta love. That's what I love about the message boards on this site is that you never know what to expect when you log in and get on a message board.
No.
You never know what conversation is going to be started, especially on current events.
Yeah.
I frequent that board from time to time myself, and you never know what kind of insane, crazy stuff is going to be on there.
Yeah, because sometimes there's actually sensible topics, and then sometimes there's just plain stupid ones.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
The variety is awesome. This is probably going to sound like, I guess, promotion or whatever, but I've got to say that I think that Sacred Crotch's spoof of Bok Choi's I took sticker pics with my girlfriend the other day topic was pretty good, and that's where he got one of the pictures that was originally there, and he photoshopped himself in place of Bok Choy, and then underneath he wrote "I love you 6 ever" rather than because he loves them more than 5 ever.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember reading.
Oh,
that.
that's great.
I gotta say that was a pretty funny topic.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the poll today right now on GameFAQs right now, and it says, let me go back to that real quick. It actually says, which hypothetical third game in a series would you be most excited to play? Got some choices here. It's got ActRaiser 3, Baldur's Gate 3, Black and White 3, Dark Cloud 3, wow, Manhunt 3, Power Stone 3, Shenmue 3, that'd actually be kind of cool there.
Yeah.
System Shock 3, The Getaway 3, and Zone of the Enders 3. There's actually quite a few interesting games on there.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome third game to play. Now, I'm a big fan of game series. I think we've kind of touched on that quite a bit today.
Yeah.
We've talked about Mass Effect. I mentioned God of War.
Yep.
Let's go around here and let's talk about the poll today for today.
Okay.
And get on that. So out of those on there, which one would you guys be really the most interested in out of all those listed there?
Dark Cloud 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember playing the first Dark Cloud, which was like one of the first RPGs on the PlayStation 2. And I remember playing that game for like over 80 hours, trying to unlock everything. I just think it was a really, really good RPG. And then when Dark Cloud 2 came out, it was like an improvement to the first game. And I remember playing that game even more. And I don't know, I just really would like to see Dark Cloud 3. I'm a big fan of the series.
What about you, Andrew? What game do you want to see be?
Well, to be honest, I haven't actually heard of a lot of these ones, but so as a result, I'm probably going to have to go for Shenmue 3 because that's one of the only ones I've really heard about.
Mm-hmm.
But Manhunt, I haven't played the Manhunt series, but I remember that it got in a lot of trouble, that game, the second one particularly, if I recall, because I think they released it for the Wii eventually, actually, which is quite surprising. Considering that that sort of game, the content of that game. But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go with Shenmue 3. It's one of the only ones I've actually really heard of.
Yeah.
I haven't actually played any of these. Sorry though.
You're good. So there's a lot of games in here that I've heard of. I mean, let's go down the list. ActRaiser, I used to love that game back on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate, big fan of those games. Like on PC, they had those originally also on PlayStation 2 and the regular Xbox.
Yep.
I've never heard of Black and White. I'm not familiar with that at all.
I think it's one of those God games. I think.
Yeah,
I think it is too.
City type game.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's Dark Cloud, which I love those games. I'm with you on that, Mike. I love Dark Cloud. Those games were so much fun. Back on the I do believe that was PlayStation 2 on there. And then Manhunt, definitely heard of those. Those were very Andrew, those were very violent games that came out on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And those were those are very interesting. Power Stone, that's more like a fighting game.
Okay, then.
And those were actually really interesting. They actually came out on the Dreamcast, I do believe. Shenmue, I'm definitely familiar with. That was a Dreamcast exclusive, and then it also came out on the Xbox as well. Shenmue 2, I believe, came out on the Xbox. System Shock is, if you're familiar with BioShock at all, BioShock, they always say, is the spiritual successor to System Shock.
Okay.
The Getaway was a British version of Grand Theft Auto 3.
Awesome.
More or less. And Zone of the Enders is a Robotech type game, like a vehicle game, kind of like a Mech Assault, but you're in a tech. So all those games look really great. The one I would be the most excited about, though, actually would be Shenmue 3, especially with the updated graphics and the all the new consoles that are out right now. I would love to see another Shenmue game come out because those games were so much fun. With so much quests to do and stuff like that. So I would definitely be interested in another Shenmue game, that's for sure.
I'm just going to have to say in advance.
They were really good games.
I'm going to have to say now that I'm sorry to the Getaway 3 for not recognizing you, even though you're British as well.
Yeah.
I've let you down.
You need to go get yourself a PlayStation 2 and pick up those first two games because they're actually really, really fun. I actually enjoyed them.
Okay, then.
Or a backwards compatible PlayStation 3 if you have
there you go.
Okay.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So did you guys have any other news or anything else that you guys wanted to discuss? Because it's about time for us to close here, and I just want to know if there's anything else that is going on or any games you guys are looking forward to in the future or anything like that.
Well, not exact game related, but for all the South Park fans out there, March 14th, on Comedy Central, the new season of South Park premieres, so you guys better watch it.
Season 16, actually. Quite long now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. I'll have to check that out. I'm actually looking forward to Assassin's Creed 3. That doesn't come out until November.
Yes.
But I actually went and pre-ordered that for my local GameStop here the night I picked up the Mass Effect 3, and they're actually giving everybody who pre-orders that game a nice metal case.
Oh, awesome.
And you actually get the case, and then when you pick up your game, you can put your game in the case, which is actually really cool.
Yeah.
And the other reason why I'm looking forward to this game is because it's set in the Revolutionary War period.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really interesting to see how that's going to work, considering you're going to be hiding in the woods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be a whole new gameplay experience from the previous games in the series, where you could run on buildings and hide and stuff like that. So, and there'll be guns, cannons, all your more modernized weapons in this one as well. So it'll definitely be an interesting take on the series as well. What about you? What about you, Andrew? Do you have anything you're excited about or looking forward to?
Well, as you were talking about, Assassin's Creed 3, I'm looking forward to. I'm playing through Revelations at the moment as well, and the problem with this is going to sound kind of negative, but the problem with the third one is that it's going to be the Revolutionary War. I don't have a problem with that as such, but I'm just wondering what's going to happen in the future, because I don't want it to end up, like the very last one. If there's going to be one after 3, I don't want it to turn into like some kind of first-person shooter deal. I'm
just wishing they would go ahead and have Desmond be the guy, because it's going to happen. He's already. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything like that from the games, but it's kind of getting to that point now where you're just kind of waiting for him to be the guy to don the get up and be ready to kill some people. So
yeah, you know what I mean. I just want them to stick with their the roots that they established in the previous games, rather than completely overhauling it and changing how it works basically.
Absolutely. Well, I guess that's all for this week. I hope to see you all next time, and send us a private message or post on our topic on the GameFAQs current events board. Tell us what you thought of this podcast. If you want to give a shout out to someone or be a guest on the show, you can post that on there as well. If possible, please take a few seconds of your time to rate and comment on our podcast on the iTunes store. Every little bit of help counts from you guys out there. And if you have any friends from GameFAQs or even from somewhere else, to be sure to tell them about the podcast. So please help us spread the word. And in the end, it all comes down to you all listeners supporting us out there. We definitely appreciate your feedback or any responses you may have from us. Okay, guys, it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah, see it.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.